Hey guys, welcome to day 10 of our 30-day drawing adventure. We are 1/3 of the way through this, and I am so happy to hear all the stories and the little comments many of you are uh, letting me know about from this experience. I feel honored to do this with you. Nothing makes me happier than to hear that I'm giving you guys or helping you guys find the love you have of drawing, or something you used to have, or kind of experience a new um, emotions around drawing. I know it is one of those things where a lot of people have some history with drawing, and frustration, or feelings of inadequacy, or um, whatever it is with drawing, and it makes me so happy to hear that some of you are coming through some of that, and finding the joy of drawing on the other side of it. I think finding the joy of drawing is the first step in really becoming a great drawer, because you will um, you'll just want to do it more, and the more you do it, the better you'll get. And yes, there are challenges. I've had some right through this thing, just in these 10 days, and there'll be more. That's just part of anything that's worth doing. It's going to be tough, but I promise you, there's gold on the other side of this thing. Gold for you and for other people. I always say that uh, when you get the creativity that's inside of you out, you benefit, because it's in there, and I believe it's so healthy and good for our souls to exercise that, and to get that out. And it doesn't have to be drawing, for sure. It can be gardening, or cooking, or whatever it is, knitting, whatever. Um, but getting that exercise, making things from you into the world, manifesting things from inside you out, creating things, is so healthy for you. But here's the really cool thing: only you can make what you can make. Only you're going to do these drawings exactly how you would do them, or even choose to draw when you start making your own choices. Some of these days I've allowed you to choose your own, grab three things, and what you chose, there's a uniqueness to that. Why did you choose that? And what would you choose if you do three more things? Or when you have just get an assignment by me to go find something to do, why did you choose what you chose? That is a unique contribution only you can give the rest of the world with your art, your creativity. And so when you don't exercise that, we all miss out. Well, let me kind of say that again, so that's really clear. When you don't exercise your creativity, you're the only one who can do it. You're the only one who can do your version of your creativity. The rest of the world misses out. Okay? We're not all going to be a Van Gogh or a Picasso, but imagine if they hadn't exercised their version of creativity, how they impacted the world. And I believe that that's true for every single human being, that we have a unique contribution. And if you hold it in, you don't exercise it, you spend your life watching Netflix. Sorry, no criticisms. I'm good with that too. But if that's what you spend your life doing, you aren't adding to this human race symphony that we're all supposed to be playing our own instruments. And I just want to encourage you with that, to um, to exercise your creativity and whatever it is. Seth Godin, an author I love, said, "Art is a generous act of making something that might not work out." I love that definition. There's all kinds of definitions of art, but I believe at its core, art is a generous act, creating, uh, because you're making something into the world that wasn't there before, and ultimately, I hope it's for others also. It's good for ourselves, but it's also good to contribute to others. And so I want to encourage you with that. The world needs your art, whether it's writing a next song, uh, writing a book that we can all read, making a birthday card for your mother or father. Any of these things are uh, just beneficial to the world around us when they come from you. So that's my little kind of positive, inspirational thought for the day. Today, I want to talk to you about something um, called line variation. And this is a big thing that my art professor just stressed and stressed and emphasized. And I want to talk to you about that today. But before we jump into that and do a drawing, a pretty simple drawing, but I'm going to teach a kind of maybe a new concept for some of you. But uh, before we do that, I want to quickly talk to you about these kind of skills or things we've been working on. What I'm trying to do is give you transferable skills. Uh, Transferable's kind of a big word, and what I mean by that is teach you something that you could learn while drawing, a glass sitting on a counter or a sea turtle or a beach or whatever, and use what you've learned doing that to draw whatever you want to draw superheroes or I don't know, uh, mountain scenes or uh, I don't know what, all kinds of landscapes that you could draw, whatever you want to draw. I remember I said in day one, draw what you like. I would love for these skills I'm teaching you to not be like, oh, that's how you draw a baby sea turtle. I want you to learn, well, that's how you figure out where to put the thing on the page and how to ground it and how to get the measurements and the sizes and the proportions right, the angles and the shapes, because these are transferable. You can take these skills and use them doing other drawings, drawing anything. And so that's what I'm trying to give you. I'm not trying to get you all to draw the same kind of things. That's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give you skills so that you can each go draw your thing, your contribution. And drawing is a like base for so many other things. Do you guys know that drawing is the base for a lot of engineering, a lot of architecture, a lot of design work, interior design, fashion design. Uh, and I know people don't. The world is trying to go into a like technical direction where it's all done. It has for years, honestly. It's all done on a computer, and heaven forbid AI. But if you can take a writing instrument out, a drawing instrument out, and draw your thoughts or draw ideas, and you have the skills to do it, I think that's never going to be a bad thing. In fact, I don't know where all this digital stuff's going to be someday. It's going to be in a landfill on a hard drive, unless it gets printed and hung up somewhere. Uh, and this stuff, I suppose this stuff could end up in a landfill. But I'm telling you what, if my grandparent or parent had a sketchbook like this with hand done drawings and things that are in here, I would treasure it. I would love to have these, and I wouldn't get rid of them, even if I barely knew the person. I'd keep them. And so I'm trying to trying to give you these gifts. So we're going to jump into this drawing here. What I'm going to do, obviously, a pencil and a paper sketchbook, something to draw in, and I'm going to be using a soda can, a pop can from Michigan, so we call this pop. The whole point is, most of you can find a soda pop can, and we're going to set that up, and I'm going to teach you line variation, or at least the start of it, the first lesson of line variation, using a soda pop can. So grab one if you can, open it, dump it out and drink it. Maybe you have water, sparkling water or something, or a juice. Um, and if you can't, I'll post I'll throw a picture up right here that you can draw from of a can sitting there that you can maybe take a screenshot and draw from. Because I'm not going to show the angle that you're going to see while I'm drawing is not the angle that I'm going to be seeing it from to draw. So you're going to want to have one in front of you or use the photo that I give you. So let's do that right now. Okay, I got my paper set up here, my can set up. I might blow away. That's a possibility. It's really windy. And I'm going to be using pencil here. We're going to talk some point in this about graphite, about the different types of things to draw with. I'm drawing with graphite, which is what a normal pencil is, although this is an HB hardness of graphite. So some of you probably are aware, but some of you may not be, that pencils come in different hardnesses. The graphite, that the part that you write with, we call it a lead. People used to call it called lead because it used to be actually lead that people drew with, the metal lead, made light marks. But they found graphite, and it's a way better thing and less dangerous than lead to draw with. And it's HB, so it's in the middle. In our grayscale set that we use, and we color code the ends of these leads. I don't know if you can see that. This is right in the middle. It's HB, and hopefully you can see that. That's the hardness. We'll talk about that another time. It's right in the middle, so it's not too light, not too dark. Nice, right in the middle. What some of you may be familiar with hardnesses is 2B. Like a 2B pencil is a very common. When I was a kid, which is a long time ago, you had to take tests with a 2B pencil because it would show up on the scanner stuff. So I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, but hardness of lead, mid range. And I'm going to draw this can. I'm going to put the spout kind of toward me, and it's open. And we are going to do a quick drawing here using line variation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be very, very lightly try to work these the bottom curve, like remember we did cylinders before. I'm gonna try to get this bottom curve. This pencil is almost too dark for what I'm gonna be doing, but I'm gonna go for it. This is really hard to do really light lines, but I'm gonna go up the sides. So what I'm going to do is lightly draw the outline of this can. Now this is something that you have to work at to get here, and we've worked on that. We talked about ellipses and whatever, and drawing what's accurate. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about how to draw the can, except to say it takes, you're going to have to exercise the things we've learned before about angles and shapes and sizes, because the top of this can curves in quite a bit, and I think that's what most cans do. And at the top of it, slightly wider than the thing, and then see, the peak is the widest part of that circle is actually below the widest part of this top, the opening at the top of the can is actually just below the I'm using light searching lines to find the top of this can. And I can tell you right now, I've already not done too great of a job, but that's how it works. You just keep doing light lines until you find it. And getting kind of close here. And then I'm gonna draw this but you can see the inside of the top. You can see on one side because of my angle, and you cannot see it from the front. And you can see the front edge of this, but you cannot see it from the back. The first thing I'm going to do is just get this drawn. And I am going to be using an eraser on this. I'm not a big fan of erasers, but because of what we're doing with line variation, kind of need to, because I'm not going to be able to get the effect that we want from this, what we're going to be doing today. So, all right, I'm going to put a little edge right here, even though I don't know what I'm going to do with that later. But this is our basic can right here, basic shape of it. That is pretty close to what I'm looking at. I think I want to say that this top is just way too round. It's not elliptical enough. I didn't really get that right. But here you go, guys. I told you, ellipses and containers, round containers, are one of the hardest things you'll ever draw and have them look real. And hands and fingers, they're one of the other infamous, notoriously difficult things to draw. Even for the masters, they had tricks to make them look up, to draw those things. Using a little eraser because I knew that that edge was too far. Okay, now what we have here is the structure of a pop can. All right. Now, a lot of you and a lot of people want to always use shading to give depth, because this thing is just kind of like the outside lines of a pop can, right? I'm going to show you how you can use line variation to show depth. And just remember what this pop can looks like right now. Maybe I'll throw up a photo later. But we're going to add some line variation. And this is lesson 1. I'm going to talk about this more other days. I'm not going to have time and get into it too long. I don't want this video to be too long. Just first exposure to it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through it. Where the subject gets tight and detailed, you draw heavy lines, dark lines. When I say heavy, I mean you press harder. And where it's kind of expanding and pushing out, you draw light, very light lines, almost imperceptible. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that right now as I adjust this pop can to have to do what I'm talking about. So I'm going to lighten everything so I can kind of see where it was. I wanted to show you how to get the structure, and then also first, and then also kind of teach you this in reverse a little bit. So I am going to, there we go. Now I got a pop can that is lightened a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I am going to put some line variation in this. So I'm going to go a little heavy, certain spots. Very carefully. So I'm going to, where there's a lot of detail and lines are coming together and joining, like these places where these lines come together, these tight little details here. There's some details here. It's real tight where it kind of comes all in. All these lines kind of come together. When I say tight, I mean condensed structure. Like a lot of the lines of the pop can that make up the pop can. Whoops, I totally messed that up. Where they come together. Right here in the front where it's popping out is the opposite. There is not much happening. It's just coming out towards you. And line variation, if you watch here, is going to inform us that there's depth here. We're going to try to convey depth by line variation. Variation means changing. So changing the line, varying it. And I am going to do the same thing here. There's a double edge coming out. This comes down. I'm going to be careful at that point because that point, I'm going to be real. I'm going to fade it out to that corner. And then this line is going to be medium, but also it's going to kind of get lost. Now, the other thing we do with line variation is establish weight. And so I'm going to use a little, I'm actually not going to bulge that out right there. There's some density here. I'm going to very carefully fade this line out to essentially nothing in the front. To essentially nothing. It's going to fade to from like dark on the sides to about nothing. And then we're going to do something a little different on the bottom just because we want to give weight to this pop can. So we are going to fade it out at the front edge here. But we're gonna still keep it a little darker than the top because it's the bottom of the can and you want to establish some weight. So line variation can show uh, density of structure, like how much is happening in a spot, but it can also show now if I was really good at this, I wouldn't be erasing at all. I would have just, but I also have to show you the process. So um, all right, so this I add some really, it's a careful work. All right, so now I want you to look. I'm going to turn this a little bit because I don't have a lot of good control of my pencil reaching out in front of me. Very light. I don't like that. Okay, so this is kind of a general. Ooh, I really don't like my ellipse. They're so hard. I'm just going to have to let it go. I held it up from being on the table, and I really didn't like the way my ellipses built. But the idea here is that we've conveyed depth of this, some depth to this pop can without using shading. We're just varying the line and showing how it goes like that. So that's basically what you do there. Now we're going to ground this guy so we can see that there's not just floating, and date it. And that is lesson 1 in line variation. Heavy lines where there's lots of stuff happening, and light lines where it's not and where it's pushing out. Okay, so uh, that is your introduction to line variation. And I knew it was going to be a longer video, and I was trying to make it shorter. We're going to go over this tomorrow. I'm going to talk more about it and explain it, but I wanted to give you a brief introduction to line variation and the depth that you can create on a flat page without shading. And that is what we were working on today. There's no shading in this. There's just a variation between light and dark lines. And you can really use line variation to help your drawings look convey depth in 3 dimensions. So I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope to see you again tomorrow as we continue to build on our drawing abilities and knowledge base. See you then.